Hello dear ones, Father Peter John coming to you today from Bloomington Valley Nursery on South Walnut Street in Bloomington, Indiana. Christ is in our midst. You might ask me, why on earth Bloomington Valley Nursery today? Well, for one thing, they have this great hollow tree. Now, granted, this hollow tree is not big enough for a full-size man to live in. However, it still is just kind of, it's eye candy. It's a visual aid for the person that we're going to be talking about next, which is Maro the Dendrite. I bet you've never heard of Maro the Dendrite, and that's good because we're going to learn something today. Maro the Dendrite lived in the Middle East in the ancient Byzantine world. And he lived in a hollow tree. His brother was a Stylite. His brother's name was Abraham, and his brother Abraham was the abbot of this monastery. His Stylite, his stylist, his what do you call him, was in the middle of the monastery there. And his brother Maro then lived in this hollow tree in the same monastery. Just interesting. I wish we could see a picture of it, but it's been quite a while. Anyway, so Maro lives in this tree, and he has a door on the tree. He was apparently not only kind of a recluse, not only a hermit, but he really liked to keep to himself. I mean, when people came looking for prayers and healing and stuff, he'd shut the door and he'd be quiet in there and pretend he wasn't there. Reminds me of a friend I have. Anyway, so Maro then was very happy shut up in his tree with his brother being in charge of everything from on top of this column. Well, one day his brother Abraham died, and so the monastery wanted Maro to take over as the new abbot of the monastery. Well, you can imagine he was not excited about this. This man who loved his solitude all of a sudden finds himself thrust in the midst of kind of monastic stardom. Right now, people come flocking to the monastery. They're looking for prayers. They're looking for healing. Where do they go? They go to Maro. No longer Maro the Dendrite, now Maro the Stylite. So Maro was very annoyed by this, and it's fascinating because when people would come, you know, they would bring sick people or possessed people or whatever looking for healing. Here's what Maro would say. He would say, "Oh, wretched men, what has misled you to leave God's altars and his great power that dwells in his martyrs who loved him and did his will? What has led you to come to me, the wretched man and the provoker of God? Because of my sins I came here to ask, like every man, mercy, not because of my righteousness." So you see, there was this real sense of humility there. He really did believe that he was the chief of sinners, and he couldn't believe that people were coming to him for healing. Nevertheless, anyone who came to him seeking healing, he would pray and they would be healed. If they were possessed, he would pray and they would be delivered from their possession. So this relatively unknown saint, this Dendrite from the Middle East, teaches us so much just from this little teeny snippet that we have of his life. And we ask that God will grant us the same sort of zeal that he had living in the tree, seeking silence, and that same humility that he had on the pillar when he was seeking God's mercy and grace and granting prayers of healing to others who came to him. Through the prayers of Saint Maro the Dendrite, O Lord, have mercy on us and save us. Christ is in our midst. He is and ever shall be.